Next person that I'm about to invite up onto the stage has been one of my teachers, and she was tough. She was loving. She was smart. She reminded me of my mom. She reminded me of my dad, and everything in between. And if it wasn't for her, actually, I probably wouldn't be here, because despite all my men's work, I was a newbie into the gender space. I thought I was, okay, I'm a conscious man, I can live in my heart, great. But the aquarium of the corporate world that I was about to step into, I had a lot of learning I needed to do. And so it's my pleasure to invite up to the stage my gender partner, Rayona Sharpneck, founder of the Institute for Women's Leadership and the Institute for Gender Partnership. Come on up here, honey.
I'm so proud of you. Oh, God. I knew this when it was a twinkle in his eye, and here it is. So, you know, Ray and I are teachers for each other, and in the Aikido tradition, there's a term called uke. And an uke is someone who goes into the dojo with you, and their job is to throw you on the mat. And the better uke you have, the better Aikido master you become. So you don't want a weak uke, you want a tough one. So Ray and I have been each other's uke over these last 3 years or so. I said something earlier, and I want to kind of share with you. I've been waiting 48 years for this meeting to happen. And it started in my high school counselor's office. And I'm going to be moved, that's just what happens. I was a junior, and I was preparing for, you know, college, thinking about college, and we came from pretty low means. And so I went to the counselor and said, hey, I want to get a sports scholarship. And as I said earlier in the sharing, I was the best athlete in my high school, boys or girls, and we had about 700 people. So, you know, I was pretty accomplished. And I said, I want to get a sports scholarship. And she goes, there's no sports scholarships for girls. And I go, what do you mean? My brothers, she said, no, there's no sports scholarships for girls. There's academic scholarships, there's music scholarships, there's performing arts, but nothing for girls. So I went ahead and, you know, made my way through my senior year, self-funded myself through college. But when I went to my university, I signed up to be on the Title IX task force to fight for the legislation that would provide equal funding for girls and boys, and fought for that for all 4 years while I played 4 sports, all 4 years. And we passed that the year I graduated. So, you know, to this day, there are women and girls who come up to me and thank me for that early work in getting that legislation passed. But that was my first experience of gender inequality, because I grew up in a home with 3 older brothers. There was no inequality. It was like, hey, first hand to the second helping gets it. So then I graduated from college, and I went into professional sports, and I played professional softball with the Bay Area team here. And once again, hit this barrier of we, the women, were the product. We, the ones that were working our butts off and performing, you know, week after week, month after month. And when it came time for payroll, suddenly the men that ran the teams were empty pockets. It's like, yeah, but what about all the people in this? Oh, well, we had to, you know, use that money for operations and stuff. So second lesson in gender inequality. So that was about all it took. I decided then to spend the rest of my life in pursuit of gender partnership and making sure, as I said earlier, that the future of civilization really depends on that we crack the code on this partnership model. And so to that extent, I've done everything I could in the time I've had to build an organization that provides solutions for that. The other part of this story is that I myself didn't recognize the amount of sheer indignation, resentment, upset that I was carrying from the thousands and thousands and thousands of women that I worked with who were sharing their stories about being disadvantaged, their stories about inequality. And until Ray and I sat in a room one day before we had to go give a speech in front of a huge conference and stuff, and he finally just got up in my grill and just said, stop making me wrong. Stop blaming me. And I mean, it was a shocking awakening to realize that I had embodied and had taken in all these years and didn't see my own resentment and upset and indignation and all the other emotions that go with that. And so it's allowed me, one, to become deeply humble about men and masculinity. And so now I'm a student of it. You know, that documentary last night, the YouTube video with Michael, I mean, everything on the internet that I can get my hands on, I am educating myself in what is it like to be in your world. I know what it's like to be in my world. I don't know what it's like to be in your world. Frankly, I didn't give a damn. It's like you seem to have all the perks. So I didn't think it was up to me to figure out what you didn't have, right? And I think I speak for the vast majority of women who also don't realize that they're carrying that resentment and that indignation and that upset. And so we can't really get to gender partnership until women do our own work on this journey, men do their work on this journey, and then together we walk arm in arm on the journey together. So I'm here to say I am officially a work in progress. This is a great privilege to be with you on this journey, and I think we can all continue to be deeply curious about what is it we don't know about our own blind spots, about our own lack of compassion. So I want to give you a few things to think about